common American has many concerns on his mind right now. Inflation is eating away the middle class, grinding away our buying power at the highest rate in 40 years. A series of Federal Reserve rate hikes will make home ownership even more unaffordable. The war between Russia and Ukraine adds geopolitical risk to our already complicated world, and suburban stay-at-home moms are threatening to fuck with the mouse and shut down Disney World. But these critical world events cannot distract the dipshits at WallStreetBets from doing what they do best: making or breaking their entire life's fortune in a single despoiled trade. My friends, it is my honor to present the most uncivilized trades of the bubble pop. Throughout the year so far, everyone from retail workers to retail traders has felt inflation's sharp pinch to the balls. But while the average person despaired in the loss of their buying power, trader TPR Hawkeye saw an opportunity. Our man hypothesized that big box retailers with tight profit margins like Target and Walmart would see low quarterly earnings due to their inability to pass on more costs to consumers. Likewise, he expected these companies to offer bitter guidance about their future earnings prospects. Hawk eyed Walmart's post-earnings results and saw that they dropped 10%, putting certain options at 1,000% gain. In a pro-gamer move, the Mad Lad factored in a similar 10% move on Target's earnings the next day and bought equally out of the money puts. He surmised that a Target drop equal to Walmart's drop would likewise net him 1,000%. Although he managed to be the only guy who actually lost money on Amazon puts this year, and then swung his account with SPY from $400 to $10,000 and then back to just $1,200 in the course of a week, Hawkeye was confident he could turn it all around with this brilliant play. On May 17th, Hawk threw the whole stack down on 17 puts at the 190 strike, expiring at the end of the week for $68 each. At the time of purchase, Target was trading for about $215, placing his puts a deep 11% out of the money. To break even, he needed Target to have its worst day in more than 30 years. After the bell, CEO Brian Cornell announced the retail giant suffered a back-breaking 52% drop in profit as fewer consumers bought things they didn't absolutely need. On the heels of inflation, Target was being reduced to a grocery store. With these absolute garbage results and no way for management to fix them, investors ditched their shares into the gutter, driving Target down 25% in its worst day since 1987, before most of us were even born. Target began trading post-market for about $165. Hawkeye asked WallStreetBets what his profit would likely be at market open. Everyone told him to shut the fuck up and sell at open. One overnight and $46,000 later, the big man cashed out his 4,200% gain, and then threw 16 grand of it right back into puts on Kohl's for another $10,500 gain. Although we don't know his exact thought process on Kohl's, it's safe to assume he expected the clothing giant to also get popped by inflation. To his credit, Hawkeye has since denounced his degeneracy and withdrew $30,000 to his bank account. But we all know that won't last. We'll see you Monday. Congratulations on the sharp trading, Hawkeye. Now, let's check out uncivilized trade number 4. Back in December 2021, Netflix was still riding high on the work-from-home trend. Although the world had begun going back to normal and people were returning to work, demand for Netflix subscriptions was still elevated due to the highly anticipated Season 4 opening of Cobra Kai on New Year's Eve. By January 3rd, viewers had already binged the entire season over the weekend. Without Cobra Kai underneath it, there was no reason to remain subscribed. Netflix began losing subscribers, and the stock price lost its $600 floor for the first time since autumn. To make matters worse, Jim Cramer tweeted, "Netflix buy" that same day, a strong bearish indicator. Over the next several months, Netflix lost market cap like a WallStreetBets trader loses assets under management. Although the rate of deceleration had slowed by mid-February, Netflix traded way down at $350 by mid-April, a price first reached in the summer of 2018. Many began to speculate that the damage was done and Netflix's failures were already priced in. User Monkey King was not one of them. On April 19th, traders prepared for Netflix to release earnings after hours. Monkey King was not dissuaded by arguments that Netflix's leadership would present a plan to turn the company around. Instead, he believed weak economic data, inflation, and Bridgerton being the flagship show would drive the stock into further decline. After carefully considering his strike and expiration, Monkey Man took 5 grand at around noon and threw down on 25 puts at the 290 strike, expiring in 3 days. With earnings after hours, Netflix's subscription numbers would make or break his position. He awaited CEO Ted Sarandos' speech at the bell with bated breath, needing a more than 10% decline to break even. When the 4 p.m. gong sounded, Papa Teddy took the mic and proudly announced that Netflix lost subscribers for the first time ever and expected to lose another 2 million over the next 3 months. Its answer? Not to focus on better content, but to focus on stopping people from sharing passwords, thus forcing them to buy their own subscription. In light of this piss-poor management response, investors dumped shares left, right, and center. By market open the following day, Netflix had tanked 30% to about $245, its cheapest since the brief bear market of 2018. Monkey King cashed out his 2,058% gain to net a cool $105,000 overnight. His next play? GameStop calls. Best of luck, Ape King. Now, let's check out Uncivilized trade number 3. After a bone-crushing April that sent SPY tumbling from 450 to 410, the bulls kicked off May by staging a comeback. In a span of only 3 days, buyers piled in to buy the dip and shot SPY back up from 405 to 430. Some believed the rally was back on, but our next uncivilized trader was not deceived. I introduce Buffett Goes OTM, a man of unspecified age who drives fancy cars and lives in a modern-day bungalow in Beach Mountain, North Carolina. But despite his modest home, Buffett Goes OTM was not a modest man. When SPY staged its rapid comeback in early May, little Buffett saw right through the ruse. On Cinco de Mayo, our man pulled a Mexican ambush on the bulls and dropped $97,000 on SPY puts the moment the market opened. At the time of the trade, SPY was trading for $424. With a strike price of $400 and expiration date of May 20th, Buffett needed SPY to hit a new 52-week low in the next 2 weeks just to break even. But 2 weeks was unnecessary. The bulls dropped the ball as soon as the morning bell rung. Buffett was in his puts right away, and the bears retook control. The bulls grabbed their swords and fought bravely, but selling pressure drove the bull army into retreat. By 4 p.m., SPY was back down at 410, and our man cashed in on his $100,000 gain. You might say he sold too early, but I bet your car isn't twice as expensive as your house. That's almost 1/1,000,000th of the real Warren Buffett. Now, let's check out Uncivilized trade number 2. Our next uncivilized trader comments religiously on WallStreetBets' daily discussion board with no regard for punctuation. I present to you Meme Lackey, a lacrosse player with a bona fide options addiction. Although he appears to have joined our beloved WallStreetBets community shortly before the GameStop pump of 2021, it appears he sat on the sidelines the entire time, never placing a single trade. Bitter that he missed the chance of a lifetime at the beginning of his investing journey, Meme Lackey vowed to one day indemnify his position and feed his inner beast. Over the next year, Meme Lackey made bad trade after bad trade, drilling his account down to $450 by March 2022. With barely enough money left for a single option, our man took a month off for meditation and reflection, seeking to rebuild his feng shui. And then he reloaded his account with about $6,000 to get back in the game. On April 21st, Homie took his first pass by going all in on Amazon puts at the 2,970 and 2,965 strikes expiring in 24 hours. With Amazon trading for $3,090, this put him 3.8% and 4% out of the money on each count, just to make sure he was adequately diversified. But fortunately for him, the bear market was rolling strong, and bears brought Amazon down to approximately his strikes, where he flipped for over 100% gain the same day. Now armed with 11 grand and a taste for blood, there was no stopping the Meme Lackey. April 28th, Meme Lackey foresaw bad earnings on Amazon and dropped $7,000 on puts. By the following day, he cashed out $27,000. On May 3rd through 5th, our man flipped calls on booking twice through earnings to go from $17,000 to $40,000, and then flipped to Amazon calls after the dip to make another $35,000. With about $88,000 in his account already, Meme Lackey had more than 12x'd his portfolio. Words like risk and management began to lose meaning. By May 10th, he was right back at it. With his whole portfolio, our man dove into 3-day to expiration Amazon puts, throwing caution to the wind. While a lesser man may have been shaken by the stock's quick run-up that morning, Meme Lackey has no fear. Bears retook control, and the big shot added another $30,000 to his coffers. And for good measure, he rolled his puts down further still, poaching another $22,000. With his approximately $130,000 portfolio, Meme Lackey was ready for his big moment. He slid the entire stack across the table, nabbing a boatload of Amazon puts expiring that week. His plan? Hot potato the puts overnight, looking for that quick double once again. Could he pull it off? Could this be his make or break moment? The morning of May 12th, Amazon dropped another $60 overnight, and that $130,000 more than doubled into $298,000. The certifiable addict pulled the diabolical quadruple hat trick and cashed out his fortune. You guys thought he was going to lose it all, didn't you? That's usually what happens, but not this time. As soon as Amazon began to recover, Meme Lackey pulled out and banked the gain. In less than 2 weeks, Meme Lackey had successfully 38x'd his portfolio on at least 7 consecutive gains of at least 50% and as high as 300%. With just under $300,000 to his name, the king of memes had finally found peace. Mathematically, his chances of success were well under 1%, but fueled by unadulterated desire to make his fortune, his lordship's mission was no foul. After all, give enough monkeys lottery tickets, and eventually one of them will win 7 times in a row. Way to beat the odds, Meme Lackey. And now, the moment we waited for. Uncivilized trade number 1. Our most uncivilized trader sought to reduce his risk by avoiding options completely and instead favored the use of an exotic financial instrument called shares. I introduce Young Chap, a man who loves memes so much that he thinks they're an investment strategy. His track record of buying and holding SafeMoon, Clove, Wish, and some Canadian pump-and-dump crypto mining company called Hut 8 has been pockmarked by unrelenting FOMO into a litany of the least successful meme stocks specifically. But despite some losses in most of 2021, his 700 shares of Matterport, purchased for $8 apiece, crested $33 in late November, which put his portfolio in the green for the first time since he started trading. Although we don't know his exact portfolio peak, it appears as though he had approximately $200,000 in late November or early December, a $40,000 gain from his starting point. This was it, he thought. He had achieved indemnification and beyond. Just as winter beset the northern hemisphere, Young Chap was assured greener pastures were ahead. Well, the meme stock economy requires a strong bull market and disposable income from the masses to be successful. Holding stacks of Bitcoin miners, Chinese e-commerce, and post-merger SPACs was not the place to be at the peak of a tech bubble. Before Santa even completed his rounds, Young Chap's tumble began, precipitating the bear market that would wreak havoc across the entire tech world. The first casualties were Hut 8, a Canadian crypto mining company, and Riot Blockchain, basically the same shit but in the US. Young Chap believed crypto would have a bad year in 2022, but decided to hold the long 7,600 shares of Hut 8 and 400 shares of Riot to sell covered calls. That sounds good on paper, but when your stock goes from 12 to 3.5, covered calls are like band-aids on bullet wounds. By April, his losses between the two topped 70,000. The next casualty was Clove, the post-SPAC cult stock that Chamath Palihapitiya pumped and dumped on unsuspecting retail traders in the summer of 2021. After seeing the stock's decline cease and sideways trading began, Young Chap wanted in on this hustle before the next breakout. 6,500 shares later, our man was ready to go with an entry around $8. According to his DD, Clove should break its sideways trading pattern by the end of the year, and he was absolutely right. In mid-November, Clove made a decisive move to the downside, losing 68% of its value by April. Young Chap's Clove was cooked, creating a loss of over $37,000. And finally, Matterport, a company that makes cameras widely used for recording real estate space in 3D. Although Young Chap was fortunate to buy around $8, he held with diamond hands as he watched the stock rise to $37 in early December and then melt down to $6 by April, the market reclaiming all of Young Chap's $20,000 gain and turning it into a loss. By April 26th, Young Chap was a wet puddle on the side of the road, coddling his $120,000 loss. But on the bright side, he still has $48,000 left. Don't give up yet, young buck. 8th time's the charm. You brave soul, you bought every meme stock except GameStop, the one that would have actually worked. You have at some point bag-held every failed meme, and for that it is my honor to crown you WallStreetBets' most uncivilized trader.
Who wants to be king?
I hope you all enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.